Well, good morning, everyone. We got it in, and what a wonderful job y'all did. A couple hours past schedule, but a wonderful job. Thank y'all so very much.
Thank you.
Those beautiful tee shots. Y'all bring joy to the golfing world. It's that simple. You have been idols in the golfing world for decades. And what's really, really interesting to think and see is that your brilliance over these many decades was just not limited to within the ropes. It's what you have done, all three of you done, as ambassadors of golf for your entire career after your playing days were put to rest. And all of us appreciate and love seeing y'all. This honorary starter ceremony, and to a lot of us, is one of the most cherished traditions in all of golf, to see our heroes come back. And gentlemen, you are the most beloved ambassadors in the world for the game of golf. Thank you so much for who you are and what you have done. Now, we will open it up to questions. I would ask, please, that you address your question to one particular player. A player may add-on color to the question. We're going to shoot for about 25 minutes. And please raise your hand for a question. Hey, yes, sir.
Well, my interest is in the trophy, the three-dimensional trophy, and I'm sure that each of you won in eras when there were different iterations of that trophy or different versions of the trophy. So I would ask Jack, but I would certainly encourage the others to tell me anything about that trophy, where you put it at home. You have multiples, and anything associated with the clubhouse trophy, which a lot of people don't know about.
Well, I've got four of them, and I couldn't afford the other two. So I have one at home. I have one at the Bears Club, one at Muirfield Village, and one in the Jack Nicklaus Museum. And they're beautiful. I don't know what the percentage is, but I would guess that it's around 30% probably of the trophy. I don't know. Is it? Do you know?
No, close.
I would say it's about close to that. And they're quite attractive. Of course, we had a plaque before, relief before, and this is far nicer.
Next question, please. How about the gentleman in the green?
So, a question for Gary, and please feel free to add color. So, can you describe what it feels like to put on the green jacket each year when you return to the Masters?
Was that to me? Who was that to? We didn't hear. Was that to me? Well, obviously, having been here or associated with Augusta for 67 years, and having come here the first time in 57 and met one of my heroes, President Eisenhower, because as we all know, he was a man who believed in freedom, and what he did for this great country is, you can't describe it. And so I had such admiration for him. And then Jack Nicklaus always told me about Bobby Jones, and I never quite understood the greatness of him. And then I obviously read a lot about him, and he won the Grand Slam in 4 months, which is it'll never be done again. So the wonderful memories that I have of this golf course from the beginning, memories are so important in your life. They say it's the cushions of life. And so it's gratitude. I think having been very poor as a young boy and suffered a great deal as a young kid in my family, coming here and putting on a green jacket the first time, and then a third time, and then I was second on three occasions. So it's been a wonderful memory for me, which I think the best word to describe it, which is really apt, is gratitude. How fortunate we are. And I've traveled more miles than any human being that's ever lived now, and my eyes have seen things that are enjoyable, but also very sad. And so you come here to this great country of the United States, the greatest country that God ever made. And that's a privilege and an honor. And to be part of this tournament is something that is much appreciated.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am, on the right.
My question is for Mr. Nicklaus. Tuesday, Tiger Woods sat right up there and said, you know what, I think I've got another one in me, and I think I can do it. My ankle doesn't hurt. The weather is warmer. I prefer it when it is warmer. I think I can do it. And if he does, obviously that would tie your record of 6 green jackets. So I guess my question is, do you think he can do it? Maybe not if it's this week. Could he do it in the future? Or do you think your 6 green jacket record is safe?
Well, I think there's many answers that I always say that the proof is in the pudding. You know, Tiger is quite capable of winning. You know, I said in here 20 years ago, I said Tiger had a chance to win more than Arnold and I had put together, and that would have been 10. And you know, he probably did if he hadn't been injured. But I think he's got a tough way to go to win. You know, what I think that he'll certainly hit the ball well enough to do so. Whether he physically can handle what has to happen with it, and he's also got to be able to score better than everybody else too. That's part of the deal. But anyway, he's a very special, talented athlete, and I wish him well.
Okay, Alex, please, up to in the left.
Yeah, this is for Jack and Tom. Jack, out of your 19 runner-up finishes, there are 2 players that were responsible for 8 of them. The one is sitting next to you, he was responsible for 4. Can you talk about what you learned from your losses to Tom? And Tom, can you talk about what you learned from your wins over Jack in those cases?
You really have to bring that up, Alex?
Sorry, Jack.
Well, I don't know whether you try to learn from what you do. You know, I think that you know, Tom got me on a few occasions, and probably more than I probably got him as we came head to head down to the bottom. But you know, each one of those occasions, it was generally one of us made a mistake of some kind. I mean, I just try to go through. I don't know what they were. 77 here. Tom birdied 17, and I had a shot 6-iron into 18. I had 163 yards to where the pin was, and I had a 6-iron in my hand and wanted to hit it to the right of the hole just to put it in. All of a sudden, he hit it in, and I changed my mind what I did, and I shouldn't have. So I made a mistake there and put it in the bunker and lost the tournament, or lost a chance to tie. Let Tom actually just have to par or bogey the last hole to win. At Pebble Beach, Tom took it away from me. I remember sitting at Jack Whitaker was interviewing me on the 18th green, and he said, "Well, it's great to be in the company of somebody who won five U.S. Opens, and all of a sudden there's this roar at the 617th green, and the impossible chip that he hit went in the hole." But you know,
It wasn't impossible.
well, it was. Let's put it unlikely. However, Tom is a great chipper, and he's always been when you get the contention or into contention, he's always done well. Turnberry in '77, it was coming down the stretch, and you know, it turned out who was going to make a mistake. I made a mistake. I missed about a 5-footer at 17. You said 4. What was the other one that you got me about?
Well, you finished second in 81, too, here.
Did you win in 81? Well, I obviously must not have been that close. What did you win by?
I won by 2.
So I was somewhere near.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, I don't.
That's the thing about
I don't remember
the
that
question you asked is really reflective on how many times he finished second in major championships.
Yeah. What did I learn? Probably not enough.
Well, we all learn from our mistakes. That's the thing. You
Yeah.
go out and you play around a golf. I almost always wanted to practice after a round of golf because I had mistakes fresh in my mind. I was warmed up, and that's the way I operated. But what I learned in victory, probably the most important victory I had was against Jack at Turnberry. Coming off the 18th green, Jack grabbed me around the neck And it wasn't a nice soft grab. It was like,
I wasn't trying to break your neck,
this.
but I thought about it.
And he looked at me and he said, Tom, I gave you my best shot, but it wasn't good enough. But the thing is, he followed up and said, congratulations, I'm very proud of you. And at that moment in my career, I was, I just, in the beginning of that year, I had changed my golf swing so I could have more trust in it. And I won a bunch of tournaments. I had a couple of tournaments before the Masters, and then I won another tournament before the Open Championship. And I was flying pretty high, but I learned to trust my golf swing. And when Jack said that, coming from the best player in the world, I said, to myself, I said, maybe I can play with the big boys. And that was a defining moment. I said, I can compete against the best. And that's what I learned in my victories.
Thank you.
Well, Alex, who was the other one? Trevino?
Yep. Come on, Jack.
Huh?
You had to know it was Lee, right?
I'm sorry?
You had to know it was Lee,
What?
that he had 4 too.
I kept not hearing you,
You
Alex.
had to understand it was Lee that had 4 wins as well.
And you were second.
I was second all 4 times, Tim?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Shame on him. or me. One of the two.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Next question is gentleman on the right, far right.
For Gary and for Jack, anniversaries are always celebrated around here. This is the 60th anniversary of Arnold winning in 1964. It would be his 4th green jacket and his final major. And Jack, I believe you ran runner-up there, and then would he'd put the jacket on you a year later. But I was wondering if you two had some specific memories to the 64 Masters.
Well, I remember that nobody was in contention but Arnold. I think that, if I'm not mistaken, I think I tied with Dave Marr for second, 6 shots behind. I think Arnold shot, 276, we shot 282 or something like that. 62. And but Arnold won the tournament going away. And Arnold was dominating. He won in 58, 60, 62, and 64. And I got to put the green jacket on him in 64, and won in 63, and then Arnold put it back on me in 65. But during those periods, and Gary won at 61 in there, and Gary came back and won later also a couple more times. But Arnold, I think Arnold and Augusta were really meant for each other in many ways. I think that Arnold helped put Augusta on the map, and I think that Augusta helped put Arnold on the map. And it's just about the time of television really getting into, and here comes this swashbuckling gambler along, and the people love watching him play, watching him hit it out of the trees and everything else. And, Arnold didn't particularly drive the ball very well during those years. He became not a very good driver, but a great scorer, to a great driver, and then couldn't make the putts. I mean, it's a change of how you evolved. But during the years when Arnold won, and in contention other times too, he was a big force. He was hard to beat here, that's for sure.
Doug, on the left.
I'll address this to Tom. One of the big topics of this Masters in particular is bringing all the top players together for the first time since the Open last July. And I guess my question for you is what you've meant to the tour all these years. What is it like seeing what's going on in golf from your vantage point?
Well, we all know golf is fractured with the LIV Tour and the PGA Tour doing the different things they're doing. But, I got up at the Masters at the Champions Dinner at the last part. It was really a wonderful event. We were sitting down and we were having great stories about Seve Ballesteros, and people were laughing and talking. And then I said to Mr. Ridley, I said, "You mind if I say something about being here together with everybody?" He said, "Please do." And I got up and I said, "I'm looking around the room and I'm seeing just a wonderful experience everybody's having. They're jovial, they're having a great time, they're laughing." I said, ain't it good to be together again? And there was a kind of a pall from the joviality, and it quieted down. And then Ray Floyd got up, and it was time to leave. And in a sense, I hope that the players themselves took that to say, we have to do something. We have to do something. So we all know it's a difficult situation for professional golf right now. The players really kind of have control, I think, in a sense. What do they want to do? So we'll see where it goes. We don't have the information or the answers. I don't think the PGA Tour or the Live Tour really have an answer right now. But I think in this room, I know the three of us wanted to get together. We want to get together like we were at that Champions dinner, happy, playing. The best players playing against each other. The bottom line is that's what we want in professional golf. And right now we don't have it.
Thank you, gentlemen. Ann?
Along those same lines, Tom, there's just so much joy in the game, and particularly seeing you all together. Maybe some memories of the camaraderie when you all played, and how different it is now compared to when you were all friends and rivals.
We always had fun playing the game. At times when we weren't playing the game, we struggled, and but we had fun playing against each other. We were tough competitors, Gary and Jack and Tiger, tough competitors. But bottom line, we're all inside that curtain. We all knew what we're trying, we all knew the stakes, and we all played the game. And that, they made us all kind of the same. And I jokingly say I am so fortunate to be able to play a game for a living. And you all work for a living. We play a game for a living over here. And how great a deal is that to be able to play something a game that you truly love. And I'm sure many of you truly love what you're doing. So it's maybe not as much work as somebody is just trying to make ends meet and make enough money to exist on. So we're all very fortunate to be able to do what we love to do.
Gentleman in the front right, please.
Jack, YouTube has allowed us to kind of, who weren't around for some of your prime, to see a lot of your greatest shots from here at the Masters. I was watching something a while back, and I saw a shot that you hit on 12. I think it was in 67. You hit sort of a sideways shank. I think like Clifford Roberts and Bobby Jones were
64.
64.
It was an 8-iron, and I almost killed Bob Jones and Cliff Roberts. Shanked it right over their head in the last round.
I can't imagine you've shanked too many shots in your career.
Not too many, but I've shanked one or two. That was one. Jones and Roberts came down to watch us at the 12th hole. Their cart was out in front here about 20, 25 yards on the right side, and I just put it right over their head with an 8-iron. I nearly made three.
Yeah. What did you do when you hit those kind of shots, very rare as they were, to sort of like steel yourself?
Go play the next one.
Yeah.
What can you do? You hit it, you got to go chase it. There isn't anything you can do. It's a little embarrassing. That's I use that as one of my most embarrassing moments in golf. I think the other most embarrassing moment in golf I had was my birthday. I don't know what year it was, but we were at Pebble Beach, and Crosby was on. We're having a little group together down at the room, and then in our room there's probably 8 or 10 people were there, and a friend of mine called and says, "Oh, hey Jack, how you doing? Happy birthday!" He says, "Somebody wants to say happy birthday to you." This guy got on the phone and sang happy birthday all the way through, and I'm sitting there, I could barely hear and so forth and so on. And he said, "Happy birthday, Jack." I says, and I gave it a real business-like, as I might have in those days. Who am I speaking, please? He says, "Oh, it's Bing Crosby, Jack. Happy birthday." I'm sitting there listening to Bing Crosby saying happy birthday, and I don't have sense enough to do it. That was a little embarrassing. That 8-iron shank was a little embarrassing, too, I promise you.
Let's ask Tom and Gary to share that as well. How you'll start with you, Gary, how you overcame a horrific shot, either mentally, emotionally, physically.
Well, I believe that to win majors or to win the big tournaments, that you had to love adversity, because you're going to face up to it. Doesn't matter who you are. And I just felt that it is impossible to play a round of golf without hitting bad shots. So it was actually part of the game. And I taught myself to almost enjoy it, but it enjoyed it in maybe I don't know what fashion, but it's part of the game. Now, why did we practice all this short game to recover? And this leads me to say that, you know, you listen to people today talk about a father talks about his son, or a coach, well, you should see this young boy hits the ball 380 yards. You never hear them say how great his short game is or how his mind is. And hitting the ball a long way is an asset, but it's not a necessity. Putting is still the same thing. If you've got to putt that long, it counts the same as a 400-yard drive. But where are we going? You're finding in time to come the tour, in 30 years plus minus, they'll all hit the ball 400 yards because there's such great incentivization now. And people are going in the gyms at the colleges and around the world, they're doing weight training. You know that Rory McIlroy, he does a deadlift. That's when you pick the weight up. He showed me yesterday 400 pounds. So this is where we're going. And this is where we need the RNA and the USGA and the PGA to get together wisely in making a decision about a golf ball. Because golf is nothing about the game today, not one single thing is the same as when we played. Not one single thing. And so we've got to cut the ball back 60 yards, 50 yards. Otherwise, the whole concept of the game, the history of the game, a par 5, a par 4, a par 3, that's gone. There are no more par 5s. These young guys are hitting 8 irons to par 5s. So we're changing the whole history of the game. Now, they are two different games. The RNA never agreed with me that they're two different games, but professional and amateur. Go and watch Jack Nicklaus at his prime, or Tom, or Tiger. You'll see how different it is compared to the way you guys play. So they've got to cut that ball back. I don't know what's going to happen. They talk about making golf courses longer. The world is running out of water. Seriously. And the costs of a machine, a mower, fertilizer, water, labor. Why do that? It's so simple. Just cut the ball back. It's very, very simple. And so I'm quite concerned about where the game of golf is going.
Mr. Watson, any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I'm going to ask Gary and Jack, how many times did you whiff the ball on tour? Fresh air. Fresh air. 'Cause I did it. I've done it
Once or
3 or
twice.
4 times.
Once or twice.
Yeah. Trying to get out of a bush.
Under a bush.
Under a bush, you get out there and you're practicing the swing, and then your real swing gets up there, gets hung up in the branches, and you go just right over the top of it. Done that. I did that in Australia.
I did it in the British Open at the 17th hole at Muirfield.
Really?
Or no, I'm taking it. It wasn't Muirfield. I went under that one, but I did one at I think it was the 15th hole at Sandwich. It was just off the left side of the green in the high grass. Tailor wedge shot. The ball just dropped into my divot.
Well, you know, I played
We've all
with
done that.
I played with a lady the other day.
And we've all whiffed
Done
shots.
that. I've
Yeah.
gone right underneath it. But I mean, this is a total whiff.
Yeah.
I went right over the top. Fresh air.
Got up in the bushes a few times too. Yeah.
This lady I played with the other day, I was playing with her, and she got on the first tee. She was nervous. She whiffed the ball once, and then she whiffed the ball twice. She says, "Hell, this is a tough course."
Okay.
Let's go to the next question. Gentleman on the aisle, please, sir.
Question for Mr. Nicklaus, please. Do you believe Rory McIlroy will win the Masters in his career? And as he attempts to do so and become only the 6th player to win the career Grand Slam, have you any insight into how to close the deal here as a 6-time winner yourself?
The answer to that, I think, is yes. I don't know whether what was about the 6th player to win the Grand Slam. I understand that, but what was
as a 6-time winner yourself? Do you have any insight into how to close the deal here and get it done?
Well, I think the closing deal. I closed the deal, as you say, and when I was 26 years old. and Tiger closed it when he was probably younger than I. And it's Gary. I don't know how old were you, Gary?
88.
Huh?
So when
How would you won the Grand?
When I won the Grand
you
Slam,
won the Grand Slam.
29.
29. So I mean, now Rory's 33, maybe
34.
34. As he gets older, it gets tougher, because then all of a sudden it's a conversation, the talk. Tom had you had the PGA, right?
I had a 5-shot lead.
Yeah, Arnold had the PGA. Mm-hmm. It isn't. I mean, is Tom Watson good enough to win the Grand Slam? Absolutely. Was Arnold Palmer good enough to win the Grand Slam? Absolutely. Is Rory McIlroy good enough to win the Grand Slam? Absolutely. But they've got to do it, and they all know that. And do I think Rory will win here? Yeah. I mean, he could win this year. He could win next year. He's just too talented not to. But then again, they were too talented not to win those seats too. So you just never know.
Gentlemen, the first row, please.
Thank you for Jack. So hi, Jack. Thank you so much. You received honorary citizenship in St. Andrews in 2022, and people in Scotland love you so much, and even issued the £5 notes with your portrait on it. We know that both Augusta and St. Andrews are very important for the game of golf. So my question is, could you please talk about and compare your feelings when you play these two courses, and also when will you visit St. Andrews again?
You mean the last part? When was what?
When will you visit St. Andrews again?
I still didn't catch that.
St.
Oh, when will I be at St. Andrews again?
Yeah.
Well, I frankly don't have any plans to be at St. Andrews again. When I retired in 2005, I had no plans to go back. And I said, I'd finished. I retired from St. Andrews. I don't want to go back. I've had enough. And then they made an honorary citizen, and there's no way I'm going to say no to that. So I went back 2 years ago for that, and that was a wonderful honor. And but I love St. Andrews. I've had great memories. I don't want to go back at my age and tarnish memories. The only thing I can do is do something worse. And so I want to leave it as it was very special. I want to leave it very special.
Gentleman on the left.
Gentlemen, none of you are young anymore, but you look fantastic.
Oh, really?
I know it's obvious, but you look great. Can you tell us the secret, please?
Gary, come on.
Who's that?
I didn't hear the question.
Why are you so young?
Well, I tell you, that's an interesting question because, first of all, I love life, and I love people, and I love my job, and I'm extremely happy. And I went to India. There was a gerontologist there that I spoke to, and he gave me, I think, the secret to longevity. And there's a man on this earth right now that will live to 140, 150 years of age, because they're going to have cell transplants, new blood in your body, etc., etc. It's a fact. It's not maybe you're dreaming of something. And he gave me 10 things to work on, which I do and I adhere to every day of my life. And so far, so good. But now I'm very fit. I still push 300 pounds with my legs. I run the treadmill at max. I read a lot. I laugh a lot. And I have love in my heart. That is very, very important. And I have an ice-cold bath every morning of my life when I'm at home. The ice bath now is taking away and doing miracles for the world. They now call it cryotherapy, like they've just invented it. The Japanese have been doing it for thousands of years in Asia. So I adhere to 10 things every day. And the most important thing to live a long time is undereat. The gym is important, but only a quarter as important as undereating. And that's a medical fact.
What was that? I didn't miss the last one.
Undereating.
Undereating.
Yeah,
Undereating.
So that's your
a tough
choice.
one, Gary.
That's your choice. It's your choice.
Tom, would you share with us your views on that and how you stay in such great shape?
I think you surround yourself with people you love, and you eat responsibly, and you do things in life for other people, and you try to have fun, and like Gary said, you got to laugh.
Mr. Nicklaus?
Well, I've got 5 kids, 24 grandkids, and 7 great-grandkids. They keep me young.
I think we have time for about 3 more questions. You, sir, the hat looks like in the middle.
Hi, this question is for the three of you. It's just real quick. Do you guys have an idea what happens to the golf balls from your tee shots this morning?
We signed them and they go into a case here, I think.
What is the question?
That's it. In the back, way back row.
They certainly were not damaged. They'll be all right.
May you lean into the microphone, please, sir.
Ask another question about the future of the game, this time to Jack and Gary, as Tom's already spoken so eloquently about it. There are ongoing negotiations about the future structure of the game, decisions to be made about PGA Tour, Live Golf. I ask you both, what would you like to see happen? What's the best outcome for you two?
Well, the best outcome is the best players play against each other all the time. That's what I feel about it. And how it's going, I don't know. I don't want to be privy to it. I talked to Jay not very long ago, and I said, Jay, don't tell me what's going on because I don't want to have to lie to the press and people that ask me questions. I said, how are you doing? He says, we're doing fine. I said, okay, that's all I want to know. So I think if Jay thinks we're doing fine, we're going to get there, and I think we'll get there. I certainly hope that that happens the sooner the better.
Gary, can I just ask Gary the same?
No, I think it's very simple. Any time in any business whatsoever, not only in the golf business, there's confrontation. It's unhealthy. You've got to get together and come to a solution. It cannot go. It's not good. The public don't like it, and we as professionals don't like it either. But it's a big problem because they paid all these guys to join the Live Tour. Fortunes, beyond one's comprehension. And the players that were loyal, three of us and others, now these guys come back and play. I really believe that the players that were loyal should be compensated in some way or other. Otherwise, there's going to be dissension.
Gentleman on the left, third row.
Yes, this is just for Mr. Watson. Going back to the career Grand Slam, I was just wondering how much of a burden did that become to you in that quest over the years? Did it become a bigger deal every time you tried to do it? And what mistakes maybe did you make that you wish you could?
It really wasn't, because every time I teed it up in the golf tournament, I was trying to do the same thing. I was trying to play my best golf in that tournament. And did it put any pressure on me to win the PGA? No. When I played in the major championships, it elevated my my passion, I guess, maybe for that tournament. But not winning the PGA didn't elevate it any more than a normal major championship. It was, when you prepare for a tournament, you want to go in there confident in your golf swing, like you know what you're doing, and it just didn't work out for the PGA with me. I had a 5-shot lead. I was telling Gary at Oakmont in '78, drove it into a divot on the 10th hole with an iron, perfect right in the middle of the fairway. And the only place I couldn't leave it was short of the green, which I did. I hit it fat out of the divot, left it in short of the green and rough like that, and I couldn't. Just to get it on the green, I had to almost take a full swing. I took a full swing, caught it a little bit more, and went over the green and made double bogey. John Mahaffey made birdie. And I'm only 2 shots ahead. And we got in the playoff, and John won. But that's kind of the history of my history in the PGA. These gentlemen, they had, they got it. They won their tournaments, and it is a feather in your cap when you win all 4 major championships. But is it something that I regret? No, not really. No, if I were destined to win the tournament, I would have won it.
Last question will be the gentleman in the 5th row, please.
Thank you.
Right.
To all three of you, I want to ask you, being the honorary starter here is perhaps one of the finest acknowledgements of some great legacies in the sport. Do you all have a say in who goes after you? And if you did, how do you see that following your great legacies, somebody else taking on these responsibilities in the future?
Okay.
Is the question, how do we see our legacies and what to do with the game?
No,
Is that what you're asking?
Do you have a say in who goes after you?
Oh, who goes after us? Yeah.
With this great legacy of being the honorary starter?
No, I'll start. I guess what we try to do, what I've tried to do personally, is to try to get more people to play the game. I've created a program specifically called Watson Links, which is a mentorship program, which takes kids on the golf course with a mentor to play 9 holes. The kids sign up, the mentors sign up, they all meet up and they play 9 holes for free. And I think this is a great bridge between what the first tee teaches the kids, gets them started in the game, to playing golf on a golf course. And that's where I'm focusing my attention now. To leave, as I've done all my career, when I first came out on the tour, I saw the caddies diminishing and the carts taking over. So the caddies weren't the people who they weren't learning the game. We didn't have that influx of new blood in the game like that. And so I've tried over my career to create programs that would get people involved with the game, especially kids. And I think we've hit on the right note right now. So I think we all three want the game we want more people to play the game. We want to play, we want to have the game very important in people's lives. I don't know the percentages, but is it 15% of the people in the country play golf? I don't know. You probably would know, but I'd like to increase that to 20%. And have people love the game like we do. It's the greatest game of all. We go back to the point of taking responsibility for your shots. It teaches you that you have to take responsibility. When you're on the golf course, when you hit a good shot, yeah, man, you can pat yourself on the back. When you hit a bad shot, there's nobody else to blame but you. And if you hit a bad shot, you go to the practice tee and you work, and the next time you have the same shot, you don't hit a bad shot. That's what life's all about. You learn from your mistakes, and it teaches you a lot of life skills, just the game of golf, the etiquette of the game, treating people with respect. You look at the players on the tour. At the end on the 18th hole, what do? They take their hats off, they go over and shake hands. Whether they've been trying to beat that guy's brains out or not, they give him credit for winning the golf tournament. That's the legacy of the game that I want to see continue. I don't want it to get too far from that, because that's we go around in life. The way you treat people is your legacy. So.
Any closing thoughts, Mr. Nicklaus?
Well, just a little bit, to add a little bit on what Tom just said there. I think we all, I know Gary and Arnold and I, and Tom too. Tom's a little behind us as far as generational, but we tried to play as much around the world as we could. We tried to promote the game wherever we could to try to grow the game, which is what Tom was saying. It's all about growing and bringing people in the game in the right fashion. Golf is a great teacher. And Tom's absolutely dead right. He says you're responsible for your own mistakes, and you can absolutely be proud of the accomplishments that you make. The game's a great game. It's the only game that I knew. It's how I ended up playing golf. I played all sports, and the one that I found that I could put as much effort as I wanted to put in, I would be rewarded from the effort that I put. And I don't think there's any other game that is as great as golf in that way. And that's why I love it. That's why I played it. That's why I played it all my life. That's why I'm still involved in it. We have programs that we're involved with all over. I think First Tee was, when Tim called me about First Tee, Barbara and I had a foundation that was with the PGA of America. It was called our endowment fund. And we had raised money, and we were putting things out to a little thing here, a little thing here, a little thing here. And when Tim Fincham called me and said, Jack, we're getting ready to start a thing called First Tee. We'd like to have you be involved in the thing. I immediately called the PGA of America. Told them I'd like to take the monies we had in that fund at that time was a little over $1 million. And that went into the First Tee. The PGA of America loved what we were doing. They added MASH at First Tee. At that time, we were working with the Royal Bank of Scotland. They wanted to help us with how they could help in this country. And I said, First Tee. They put in $2 million. So we started off with $4 million. Tim remembers that very well, I'm sure. And I know there's other people that did so too. But I think that the program that they have done and the kids that they have helped, and through the years I've seen, I've been spoken in front of Congress on several occasions for First Tee and see some of the kids that First Tee has brought along. They didn't have to be golfers, but they were by the game of golf. They were brought in the way they've lived their life, the way they grew, the way they came out. I mean, some of these kids. I remember doing one in Washington one time with this gal, and the gal was from Jacksonville, and the boy I think was from Oklahoma City. I could be wrong on that, but they both went on to be doctor and an attorney, and it only happened because of First Tee. They didn't have to be golfers. But they played golf and golf brought them through that. There's many other ways that the game of golf helps people. But I just think it's a wonderful game, and I know that Gary is 88 years old now, and he couldn't think of anything he'd rather do. Tom is 74. I'm 84, and we owe most everything that we've had that's really good to the game of golf. And we love it. We love being part of it. We thank the game for it.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Player?
I think there's a great saying, I think it was Shakespeare who originated. He said, the youth of a nation are the trustees of posterity. And why I admire these two gentlemen and Arnold Palmer so much, because they set such a good example to the youth of the world around. And we're not interested in just playing in America, as so many young guys are, or their respective countries. We went around the world promoting this game that we were so grateful for what it did for us. I think what Tom said is marvelous, to have respect, to teach these young children to have good manners. He said, take your hats off and learn to greet people properly and have a good education. Personally, I don't believe in legacies. If you take my all-time hero, Sir Winston Churchill, he was probably the greatest leader for the last 200 years, without going into the Ottomans and all the great leaders and William the Great. But if it wasn't for Churchill, we wouldn't be sitting here today. And they're defacing his statue in England and calling him a racist, etc., etc., etc. So if you think that people are going to remember you, you're dreaming. Everything shall pass. It's a true saying. We do our best here, we contribute to society, and we leave the best possible legacy that we can for young people, and it goes on. Ben Hogan, I never saw a man hit a ball like Ben Hogan. He was the only man I ever met in my life that knew the swing from A to Z. He knew more about the golf swing than anybody because he hit more balls and practiced harder. These young guys, they talk about him like he didn't have a modern-day swing, and he knew 10 times more than any coach of the world today. So legacies are something in my mind that just are here today and it passes.
Let me add one thing. Gary mentioned Churchill. I want to leave it to Churchill was a golfer. He played golf on a vacation one time, and he got back to Parliament, and they said, Mr. Churchill, you played golf on your vacation? He says, tell us about the game of golf. He says, golf. He says, golf is a game in which one plays and takes a very small ball and tries to put it into an even smaller hole with implements singularly ill-designed for the purpose. I always loved that quote, and it is exactly, basically, to most people, what the game of golf is.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jack Nicklaus, Mr. Tom Watson, Mr. Gary Player. Gentlemen, we treasure every moment with y'all. Thank you so much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
I think I got that pretty close down.